Good day everyone, my name is Jazmine Vargas, student from 1IEA, and for today's video, I will be discussing about the evolution of operating system. Before we start, let's define operating system. An operating system is a software that manages computer hardware, software resources, and provides common services for computer programs. Time-sharing operating systems schedule tasks for efficient use of the system and may also include accounting software for cost allocation of processor time, mass storage, printing, and other resources. The earliest computers, such as the Colossus and the ENIAC, had to be programmed by physically manipulating the machines, switches, and cables. The first computer that we had is the ENIAC in 1940. The ENIAC stands for Electronic Numerical Integrator and Computer. ENIAC was the first programmable general-purpose electronic digital computer built during World War II by the United States. It was invented by John Mauchly and J. Presper Eckert. It was the first digital electronic computer that was used for weather prediction, atomic energy calculation, and other scientific causes. ENIAC was used 20 single-number accumulators as primary functional units, but also contained special units for multiplication, division, and square roots. The machine of ENIAC was built out of nearly 70,500 vacuum tubes, 7,200 diode, and many miles of wire. It took up to 1,800 square feet of space that was enough to the size of large room. We had EDSAC and EDVAC in 1949. EDSAC stands for Electronic Discrete Variable Automatic Computer, and EDVAC stands for Electronic Delay Storage Automatic Calculator. The EDVAC and the EDSAC were both completed in 1949. The EDSAC was the successor to the ENIAC, and the EDSAC was a project headed by Maurice Wilkes at the Computing Laboratory at Cambridge University and built based on the EDVAC proposal. Both were stored program computers. Instructions could be run from the computer's memory rather than be hardwired. They used John von Neumann's architecture, where the computer's program code resides in the same storage as the data. In 1950, we have computer punch card. Computers developed the ability to run programs and input data inscribed onto punch cards or tape. There were also computers that had built-in programs that could support or interact with the user's punch card-based programs. Computer punch card is a computer output device that pushes holes in cards. It is a computer input device used to read computer programs in either source or executable form and data from punch cards. This is the example of free punch cards. Mostly early computers such as the ENIAC and the IBM NORC provided for punch card input and output. Card readers and punches either connected to computers or in offline card to from magnetic tape configurations were ubiquitous through the mid-1970s. In 1964, we have IBM OS 360. IBM OS 360 is the operating system came about as a way to manage the input and operation of these programs, using techniques such as batch processing and multitasking. It is the first operating system designed to be compatible with multiple different models of computers. This is the example of IBM OS 360. It was the first family of computers designed to cover the complete range of applications from small to large, both commercial and scientific. This IBM O360 features 8-bit byte addressing and binary, decimal, and hexadecimal floating point calculations. Before having IBM OS 360 in 1960, we have On-Line System or NLS. NLS is the first operating system that resembled the desktop operating system that we use today. It was developed in the late 1960s at the Stanford Research Institute. NLS was the first operating system to support the use of a mouse and to feature a user interface of overlapping windows. The NLS system was the first to employ the practical use of hypertext links, the mouse, raster scan video monitors, information organized by relevance, screen windowing, presentation programs, and other modern computing concepts. This was the example of NLS, though it inspired the mouse-driven graphical user interfaces that almost all PCs use today. NLS itself was never widely implemented since it was difficult to use and was designed for an outdated method of computing. In 1970, we have Control Program for Microcomputers or CPM. CPM was the first widely used operating system of this sort. Control Program for Microcomputers was an operating system designed for Intel 8080 and 8085 family of processors. It was developed by Gary Kildall and was published under his organization, Digital Research Incorporation. In the mid-90s, Control Program for Microcomputers may also be known as Control Program Monitor. In 1981, we have Xerox Star. It was the first commercially available PC that was inspired by NLS. The Xerox Star workstation, officially named Xerox 8010 Information System, was the first commercial personal computer to incorporate technologies that have since become standard in personal computers, including a bitmapped display, a window-based graphical user interface, icons, folders, mouse with 2 buttons. We had Apple Macintosh in 1994. The Apple Macintosh was the first commercially successful PC with a mouse-based GUI for its operating system. It reached 70,000 sales in less than 4 months. Apple Macintosh is a family of personal computers designed, manufactured, and sold by Apple Incorporation. MS-DOS was invented in 1980. It is the most popular command line interface OS of the 1980s. On the other hand, MS-DOS was the operating system most commonly installed on market-leading IBM PCs. Windows 3.0 was invented in 1990. It was introduced by Microsoft, and Windows 3.0 was the first hugely popular version of Windows, although many of the DOS or DOS underpinnings were still clearly visible. MS-DOS allows the user to navigate, open, and otherwise manipulate files on their computer from a command line instead of a GUI like Windows. Today's MS-DOS is no longer used. However, the command shell, more commonly known as the Windows command line, is still used by many users. In 1993, we have Windows NT. NT stood for New Technology. It was designed to be a better Windows, offering network per object-based processes and file protection mechanism. NT was arguably the last modern operating system that was written from scratch. Every successive version of Windows has been based on an evolution of Windows. In 1993, we have Mosaic, the Netscape Navigator, and the Internet Explorer usher in the web. The web browser becomes the killer app for the mid-1990s and onward. We know that the browser is not an operating system, but it led many to re-examine the role of the operating system for consumer computing and imagine a world where all services are provided via a web browser. In 2007, we have iOS. Apple's iPhone makes the multi-touch user interface mainstream. The user interaction model includes a virtual keyboard and support for tap, swipe, pinch, and unpinch gestures to zoom and unzoom to support direct, finger-based and manipulation of on-screen objects. The concept of multi-touch interfaces goes back to the 1970s, with interfaces using pinch-to-zoom gestures being created in the early 1980s. And for the last one, from 2009 to present, we have the Internet of Things or IoT, all sorts of appliances and devices talking with each other. The term Internet of Things was coined by Kevin Ashton in 2009, but the ideas go much further back in time. As microcontrollers became smaller, cheaper, and more power efficient, and wireless networking became ubiquitous, it became clear that all manner of objects could be controlled or could report their status. That's all for today, and thank you for watching.